China finally updates its gold holdings, and it's even less than what mainstream media predicted. Why multifamily building permits have gone way up, and somebody just dumped $1.4 billion in paper gold futures. How you doing, guys? It's Eric from RuleTheWasteland.com. So China finally released or updated its official gold holdings. They had no updates to their official holdings since 2009. So the figures that they've been released were basically giving the impression that they have not added or accumulated any more gold since then, but everyone knew this to be false because they'd been buying gold hand over fist and buying mines, as the Vision Victory channel reported on China's secret wealth accumulation plan. Is that they're not only buying physical gold and silver, they're buying gold that's in the ground in the form of mines and buying mine shares. So when you add all that up, it is a lot of gold, and they're one of the biggest gold producers in the world, but none of the gold leaves the country. Now, not all of this is necessarily going directly to the government. Some could be going to private investors, but it is understood, or at least by most people accepted, that the Chinese government is definitely hoarding gold. So there was no real knowledge of exactly how much they've accumulated, but estimates range anywhere from 3,000 to 5,000 up to 10,000 by some people. And when they came out and released or updated actually, their gold holdings, it was only a little bit more than 600 tons more than what was there before. So about a 57% increase. Now the interesting thing is, so it was about 1,054 metric tons, and now it's about 1,600 and something. I don't remember the exact figures. But the interesting thing is that the way that they updated their figures was that they'd had the same amount of gold for every month, and now over the past month, which gold actually, as a price-wise, declined like 2%, they supposedly purchased 600 metric tons, which is probably not what really happened. And because we know that their figures have been false for many years, it's certainly possible that the figures that they've released now, in fact, I think it's probable that the figures that they release now are still incorrect, and they've just done it on purpose. They had some interest in at least modestly increasing the amount of gold they're officially holding without being totally upfront about how much they really have. Now, originally, a lot of people thought that it was going to be because of the IMF looking into adding the yuan into the SDR, but apparently, according to Zero Hedge, there's been talks that IMF has said that that's not happening anytime soon. So whether that could just be them saying that to downplay any rumors and market fluctuations that may occur as a result of that, or it could be the truth. Regardless, we've seen a huge stock market bubble pop basically in China, and they're doing a lot of things over there to try to mitigate that. There's a huge run up, and then the market top blew off, and they've given back basically all the gains that they've had before the run up after letting normal people buy into the market. So now they're trying to get a little bit of stability there, and this could be related to that. Could be a result of saying, hey, we're not in trouble. We have a lot of physical assets backing our country. You don't need to be afraid to get into the markets, kind of thing. So who knows? But it is very interesting to see that them finally publicly updated at least a little bit. But I'm still under the impression that this is not the real numbers. I think they did just enough to try and get some positive effect without putting a huge number out there that's going to spike gold prices if people realize that they're literally hoarding it. So I think that's what we're looking at here. Speaking of gold prices, gold and silver have recently continued their drop. I mentioned that I expected this in a previous video, and that has seemed to be what has come to pass. Silver is broken down through the $15 mark and is, as I speak right now, under $15. According to Zero Hedge, someone sold $1.4 billion worth of paper gold futures, which is responsible for at least this very recent price suppression. So it's probably just some more manipulation in the paper markets, or if not direct purposeful manipulation, it still goes to show you that there can be a lot of stuff happening that causes the price on paper to go down while we're still seeing record sales of bullion. So it's a very strange situation, but as always, there's never a bad time to trade paper money for physical assets, regardless of what the price is. There's been a huge increase in permit applications for multifamily residents. And I believe I've talked about this before, at least with some individuals in person, if not on my videos. But I have for a while predicted that we're going to see an increase in rents and people renting and rental prices, and a decrease in housing prices. I think we're going to simultaneously have houses come down in value while rents go up in price for several reasons. First of all, once there is any sort of tumultuousness business in the markets and in the debt markets more particularly, once maybe rates are raised finally, if that happens, or if people just have trouble securing debt, then you're not going to be able to buy houses, because almost all house purchases are financed to some degree, at least a huge portion of them are. So when financing becomes harder and more expensive to get, the demand for houses is going to drop, so the price will drop. So the prices will drop, but people can't get financing, so there's still going to be a lessening of a demand there. People still need a place to live, however, so they're going to have to resort to renting instead of buying. So we could simultaneously see prices of real estate come down while cost of renting goes up and meet somewhere in the middle. And I think I'm not the only one to anticipate this, as builders are building a lot of multi-family dwellings, which are almost always used for renting them out. And so someone else is anticipating that there'll be an increase in rent. We'll see how quickly this plays out, but they're issuing the permits now this year, so at least they're anticipating that this will be something that will happen over the next year, 2, 3 years at the most probably. So that is just a few interesting news items that have been popped up in the last couple of days. You can check out links on rulethewasteland.com. I believe most of these stories were from Zero Hedge today, because they're normally really quick. They're Johnny on the spot with the news. They put multiple articles out every day, and they have some really interesting stuff. So if you've never heard of them, go check them out. I will post the links on rulethewasteland.com. Talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching.